Good afternoon. I will start making the presentation corresponding to our company, Elementos Limited. We are traded in the Australian Stock Exchange since December 2009. Elementos Limited arose as a result of the cobre mining merger that started working in its lithium project, and some of the metal assets had been left aside. So there was a need of creating a new company. A company that would have a budget that was totally different, dedicated to exploration. So the public offering before the Australian Stock Exchange was made in December 2009, and with a margin of 7.2 million Australian dollars, reaching $8.25 million in assets. These are the general characteristics of the company. And here we can see the evolution of the shares that started in 25 cents in 2009, and today they're in 18 cents. This is a view of the board and the executive team. Corey Nolan is the managing director. All these persons are based in Australia, and I have an office in San Juan. Why did we choose, or rather one of the strategies we chose to elect Argentina initially? We basically were looking for provinces that were mining friendly, and the first one to come about was San Juan. Many of the reasons to select properties in San Juan are based on these items shown in the slide. Pro-mining jurisdiction, growing gold production, mainly focus in gold and copper today, with some gold and copper deposits both in development or at feasibility stage. Pascualama, Casposo, Los Azules, and El Pachón. In general, we have a corporate tax that could be somewhat restrictive in terms of having 35% taxation. And this is a view of all the projects, and our lecture will be focused to the progress made in Manantiales deposit and Santo Domingo deposit. The Manantiales project is located to the north of Casposo, and Santo Domingo project is located in Sierra de la Huerta. This is epithermal gold and silver, and here we have gold and copper porphyries. This is a general view, a satellite image that shows the position we have in the mining property. The Manantiales project is located immediately to the north west of the properties controlled by Casposo. This is the location of the Casposo mine, and in red we have the arrangement of our three mining licenses with about 100 square kilometers to explore. In 9 months, we started our exploratory activities, and we have been able to delineate 4 targets. One, Manantial Vein, Julieta North Prospect, then La Puerta Prospect or sector that are veins that are trending east to west and near the south limit of the property, and an anomaly of base metals that is located in the north of the project. This is in a preliminary stage, and we must continue working, deepening the studies in this case. One of the steps we followed to start working in higher detail was basically the location of exploration targets that could be drilled easily, and to progress in the drilling as soon as possible. For that, we had to submit an environmental impact study that was approved in June 2010 for the Manantiales property. Initially, we had a surface prospection mapping the veins. The vein bodies are quite hard, and to achieve a more representative sample, we had to do a continuous sampling. This with the material distributed uniformly along the vein. So with that, we achieved to obtain 215 samples obtained with a cutter along 850 meters from north to south, and the map here shows the distribution of the veins with the alteration halo that is surrounding the veins zone, with the main grades in these zones here. At that moment, we couldn't go deeper or advance more in trenches because if we didn't have the environmental impact study we approved, we wouldn't be able to do any type of work. So we did this on foot from the last point where a vehicle can reach the zone. The interesting thing here is that with the neighbors, we achieved an agreement with Troy in order to achieve the access through a road that reaches the Julieta zone. This allowed us to get very fast to the zones of interest with minimum investment costs. Some of the outstanding values here. Fundamentally, in the Lounders, we have the highest grade, basically 7.24 grams per ton of gold, 0.7 meters of with 12 grams per ton of ore, then 0.7 grams. And normally this is a north-south vein with 2 veins subsystems. The system that is located to the east is a massive vein with rounded zones in some places with calcite suture zones, with a small gap to the west that has a 10 to 20 meters, and a second structure is developed to the west based on basically what basically different types of calcites, and among the two of them, this is a stockwork, basically with two parallel structures dipping to the east with the same inclination. In order to prepare the drilling plan, once this sampling was ended in March, April. We were ready to start drilling at that moment, but due to the timing of the approval that was approved in early June, all our activities with heavy machinery, in fact, we had a front-end loader to achieve access to the location, to reach the zone and start developing the drilling. And we are drilling with a small machine, portable machine. This was a machine that was selected, among other things, because it needs 5x5 grids where it's possible to develop all the activities. The machine can be disassembled. It also allowed, in case of evacuation due to snow, it could be possible to take the machine on top of a light truck and transport it to a safe place. The drilling pattern was selected basically on the launders. In this case, we have the location to the north, where the most outstanding value is 0.7 meters, and we started drilling at different levels to do the testing. There are topographic increases to the south of the zone. So we did the testing of the veins at different levels to analyze the strike and the vertical section. Here, unfortunately, we can see, but all the wells are striking at 60 degrees. These two drill holes are completed, and this one is going to be drilled during these days. And what we see here in green corresponds to the geology that we have gone through, feldspar clastic rocks, basically, and the main structure, or apparently the vein, is placed in between the contact of two felsic structures with different textures. One is highly pyroclastic and the other one seems to be more porphyric feldspar, and in the contact between the two structures and striking to the east, we have the emplacement of the vein and the stockwork. In red, we have the main vein, which in the surface measures between 1 meters to 4 or 5 meters. And this with the textures I indicated before. And it was intercepted with different thicknesses, but the structure degrades in the hanging wall and foot wall. It is very narrow and shows an later injection of hematite and silica. We initially thought that it would correspond to a third phase of mineralization, because there are different structure or textures found in the different zone of the veins. The drilling program for this zone considered about 1,500 meters to test the Manantial and Julieta Norte veins, to test at two levels, shallow and deeper, from 30 meters of depth up to 120, 150 meters vertical. Today we have 950 meters drilled, distributed in 12 drill holes. Apart from our exploration work, we are working with whole or core orientation. Here we can see the main vein in white that corresponds to the red zone in the cross section. This is a brief overview of the other targets. This is Julieta. This is a border with the Troy properties. In this case, this is a northwest vein that dips to the northeast. In this case, what we have seen here is an andesitic rock, and that develops a stockwork. So the idea of the drilling program is to test about 200 meters in zones where outcrops are seen, and in other places where there are no outcrops, but where the vein could extend to the northwest. And this is the geological scheme of La Puerta vein. We have completed Launder sampling in this sector. This vein is an east-west vein in general that also has breccia structure on the surface and also in the footwall. And it strikes to the north between 80 and 90 degrees. The Launder values have found 4 grams. We have found also 2.4 meters with 8.36 grams of gold. An interesting detail in the case of the Manantial vein, both due to its topographical location and the stratigraphy we see in the site, it seems it is located in the upper section, and we are talking about veins that have a Permian age. And as this has been proven in Casposo and Castaño Nuevo. In the case of Castaño Nuevo, the datum are 465 million years, the same for Casposo. So perhaps they belong to the same family. And something else is the location of the rock as it is in the upper Permian period. It makes us infer that there's a good preservation of the rock, and it has a higher potential at depth to find richer zones of silver. And very briefly, I will see another project that has elements in San Juan. It is the Santo Domingo project. Here we have a copper-gold project that has the characteristic of being a porphyry system, and where recently they have applied modern exploration techniques. Until today, we have identified 3 main tasks, the El Arriero, Divisoria, and Alunita works. These works have been done through an axis that reaches through Santo Domingo. It reaches El Arriero, and we are going towards the Divisoria zone. So here we have the main prospects, El Arriero, Divisoria, and Alunita. At this moment, we are more concentrated adopted in the mapping of Divisoria zone. In some cases, there are interesting values. In Divisoria, there's 4.64 grams of gold. This is associated to stockwork, veinlets, and in general, the values we can find are disseminated as it happens in Divisoria with 0.2, 0.5 grams of gold. In El Arriero, there's another different characteristic. It is more copper content. It doesn't have so much gold, and one of the potential we see is the extension of El Arriero to the east, where some former samples have gone to obtain samples from veins with interesting values as the one showed by the slide. In Alunita, the situation is somewhat important. There's a potassium zone, but there's a clear superimposition of sulfidation processes. The polymetals are associated to the zones of veins, and everything located in terms of porphyry, we have a disseminated mineralization with gold copper. This is a view of the anomaly of El Arriero. This looks to the north. The north is in this direction. This is an amphibole rock and with up to 10% of pyrite, and in the north sector there's a dacitic intrusive. This is one of the camps that we have mounted. So in summary, our objective is to incorporate our world-class portfolio of exploration projects globally. We have had an early exploration success at Manantiales in the short term. We have a large amount of funds to continue exploring during the next years and to focus on new opportunities and possibly new discoveries. Thank you very much.